Welcome to Corner 3, the internet's best basketball podcast on the mother effing planet, brought to you by Fam by What the Deal Be. I'm one of your illustrious hosts, Khalif Adams. Shout out to my man, my mellow, the smoothest kind of fellow, one-time vaccinated champ. It is Nikki Grayson. How are you doing, sir?
They let me drink it this time. Did I make that joke last week?
I think so.
You made this joke on 4 or 5 of our podcasts.
Oh, see.
It's a good one is the thing. I guess I just have to wait until I get vaccinated again.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It's on the way.
This one's not sponsored. Just pretend the stuff in the back's not there. I forgot to clean the set.
Second vaccinations brought to you by Postmates. We love it.
Thanks, Postmates.
Shout out to Postmates for second vaccinations. Next up is my man, my mellow, smooth kind of fellow. I really like the color combination on your shirt. It is John Warren. What up, John Warren?
Hey, I got my fan bite red on today. My baseball jersey. That's a little too small for my nipples.
I think 3/4 shirts are always like that.
I think they are too. Yeah, they don't really work. But it was a real fight to get this one. I'll tell that story somewhat when I get drunk at a Christmas party or something.
Ooh.
I'm doing good.
Excited.
I'm doing good. At least I'm not Kevin Durant or Michael Rappaport. That's just what I have to say.
Yes, we have lots of conversations to cover in that realm. Again, shout out to all of you in the community. Thank you so much for listening and sharing the good works that we're trying to get done on Corner 3, trying to make it, again, the best basketball podcast on the planet. It is already, but we're trying to hit that next level where we get Michael Rappaport to talk crap about us during an episode, which would be pretty fantastic. We would kind of love that. And if you want to talk crap to us, don't do that in the comment section and the review section, where we'd ask you to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, because that's what needs to go down.
You can give us 5 stars and then say whatever.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
That then goes from a read to a skim, I have to say. That then changes the timbre of the way that we engage with the content that you would put if you talk crap about us. I would say, if you're going to say anything bad, just say something bad about the term vacky. Make sure that gets removed from the lexicon.
No, listen. Nikki and I are both pro-vacky, okay?
Yeah.
Now, Khalif is on the record for being anti-vacky.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. We're always saying this.
Does that make me like a part of QAnon at that point, if I say I'm anti-vacky?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
congrats. You're QAnon now.
Yeah, congrats.
Oh, goddamn.
Congrats. You've already got an email from Matt Gaetz in your inbox.
Yeah, sorry. You remember, you were at that dinner, remember? All of us together.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Nikki Grayson. I was never there. I don't even know. I don't even recall. This is one of the weirdest interviews I've ever done.
One of the weirdest interviews I've ever done.
That was such a...
I hate it when I call my friend on television and then I get incriminated in a sex crime. Hate it when that happens.
Oh, man.
The moment of the internet this week was him getting that thrown in his lap. That was the best hand grenade I've seen.
Funny.
It's fucked up that R.L. Stein. It's fucked up that R.L. Stein created that ventriloquist dummy for Goosebumps all those years ago, and now he's the senator. It's fucked up.
Yeah. C'est la vie, you know?
Again, I've never seen a human whose face to head forehead ratio is so off in this life. Anyway, we're going to talk about basketball on our show this week. If you saw the video version of our show, you saw the splash graphic that had our friends Blake Griffin, Luka Doncic, and Russell Westbrook on the cover. We're going to go a little bit week in review this week, because it was a fairly interesting one for a lot of teams, and especially those 3 folks. Blake had a really interesting conversation on Twitter, or at least in an article, where basically he was like, everybody for the past couple of years have been talking about how I'm trash, and now I'm moved to a place where I'm happy, air quotes happy, and hopefully going to win a championship. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this, because I think that there is some credence to the conversation about Blake being poo-poo, but also it is a kind of interesting thing to see, again, someone on the kind of end the downward slope of their career, again, moving into this kind of super team model that we've seen kind of be the thing of the past couple, at least what, 10 years or so. I mean, you could say super teams have not been a new thing for a long time, but the prevalence of now, the athlete being the one who is making the decision is the actual new conversation. John, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about Blake and his kind of newfound, resurgence, and also how poo-poo was he before he came over to the Nets?
I mean, he's right. I mean, people have been saying he's washed since he got to Detroit. And you could be the best player on the Detroit Pistons and still have the perception that you're a shitty player, which is not fair. But I get why he got that reputation. I don't think it's fair. I mean, it's like he's still Blake Griffin. If someone had said we knew when Blake Griffin got traded to the Nets, we were all kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. Or bought out or whatever. Yeah, it was a total buyout. But we knew that was going to be a big move, I think, for the Nets to get a fourth great player. He's the fourth best player on that team, but he's still someone that can add a lot of depth to that second rotation or just be part of that front court in the start. So he's playing well. He's right that the perception is that he's trash, and that the narrative has been around that he's trash and that his career is over. And yeah, now it's just everyone's hemming and hawing about that there's a super team, and they also picked up LaMarcus Aldridge this week, which is hilarious too. So it's I don't know, it's interesting, but it's this is how it is. You get to the end of your career, you're on a bad team, suddenly you're on a good team. You may be the difference between the Nets getting bounced in the Eastern Conference Finals versus getting the championship. Yeah. So, yeah.
Nikki, what are your thoughts about Blake kind of hemming and hawing and basically kind of being in his feels this week because of the narrative that's kind of been there for a while?
I mean, I just think that I don't know. It's a combination of him not, like he said, he was not having fun when he was in Detroit. And now he's having fun on a basketball team with people he likes. Yeah. So now it's I'd be incentivized too to want to do well if suddenly I've gone from living in Detroit to living in New York City, and then also I'm being paid very much money to win basketball games pretty frequently
on a good team again.
I mean, it's. I understand the feeling behind feeling like your own career is languishing because you're also languishing on a bad team. So I'm happy for him, and I'm glad that he remembered that he could jump. Because that's an advantageous skill to have on the basketball court. And he remembered that he can do it, so he does it now.
The best thing about the first game where he was playing in Detroit as a Brooklyn Net was catching that drive to the hoop and getting that one dunk.
Hadn't done it in 2 years.
Yeah, talking shit to the bench on the other side, basically being well, I told you shouldn't have let me go, which is not what he really wanted to say, because he's not that's not his thing.
Thank you for freeing
letting me go, letting me free. I do wonder though, with Blake now being, again, we talked about this last week when the trade deadline conversation kind of happened, but is it one of those things where Blake, as this player at this caliber, whatever you think his skill set is at this point, not only does he have the right to kind of talk a little bit of junk, or has he still really
I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So really? Yeah.
Wow.
That's an interesting
I
thing.
think, yeah.
Explain,
I absolutely
Lucy,
think that Blake Griffin is first ballot. The Basketball Hall of Fame is so easy to get into.
That is true. That's true.
It is. It's really easy to get into because it's inclusive of your college and international career.
Yeah.
So
I think Blake Griffin arguments to be made too for Blake Griffin. They're cultural because he was a cultural icon in the years where he was doing insane Lob City kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. He was one of the faces of the league.
Yeah, the Kia commercials, like that probably counts more than I think I was realizing a second ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
So like I feel like oh.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I feel like he's like, yeah, I would talk shit like this if I was in his position.
Yeah.
Cuz like yeah, like I think he knows that he has enough left in the tank to be a contributor. I think he's happy now that he's able to contribute. And I think that he's finally he's finally getting the W's to back up the fact that he's talking this shit.
Mm.
And he hadn't been able to do that since he was playing with Chris Paul in LA 7 years ago.
Yeah. And he was the face of Oklahoma basketball for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, for not having a stake in most college basketball or most college sports. I remember very much when when we started to date, her folks are big Okie fans. So there was like a picture of
Your in-laws are Sooners?
Yeah.
Oh.
Boomer Sooner.
OU red everywhere. Yeah. And there's so much Texas and Oklahoma beef. It's so interesting.
Remember when that girl fell off of the wagon?
Syracuse basketball. That's all I have. I have no clue. I have nothing. I'm like, Melo's still there, isn't he? No, he's not actually in Syracuse.
Carmelo Anthony's still playing for Syracuse, right?
I mean, in my mind, yeah. In my mind, it's literally it's freaking Melo, John Wallace, and like one other person who is still playing for Syracuse basketball. I have no clue. I'll just throw Felipe Lopez in there too, just for the hell of it. But he never even went to Syracuse. But yeah, like they had a picture of Blake in the house when he was he was like in the like top part of that thing. I do wonder now. That is really interesting take to hear the like first ballot. John, would you put him in the Hall of Fame?
No, I wouldn't. But I mean, I get why Nikki's saying that. Like,
Yeah.
I think Nikki's right that like he was a major force in college basketball. He was a highly touted draft pick.
Yeah.
He was basically as good as advertised as a rookie, even, which is like really rare. And then he had a really good career. He was culturally very relevant to the NBA. There are just so many.
He's the funniest player in the history of the league.
That's true, but there are so many of his contemporaries I would put in the Hall of Fame before him that I'm like, when does he get in? When does he get in? I mean, I agree, it's easy to get in, but I'm not sure I'd put him in ahead of like a lot of players that are going to retire around when he does.
Okay, well, wait,
so I don't know.
Because that makes me think then, and this is going to be a hard thought exercise because it's just so many players who like you shared. Like, I like when you say like people who would get in, I think of like Vernon Maxwell would get in. Like he had enough of a career. Like Kenny Smith isn't even in the Hall of Fame.
Do you want to?
Kenny Smith get in? Right?
Do you want to hear?
Right?
Okay. No. Here's Blake Griffin's draft class.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. This is helpful. Yeah,
there's no way this man doesn't get in.
Okay. This is helpful.
Okay.
Hashim the Beat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is he?
He doesn't get in.
He doesn't get into.
Not getting in.
One Hall.
He played for like half a season, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. James Harden obviously gets in.
Nah.
Tyreek Evans. No.
James Harden gets in like
way
he's a no doubt Hall of Fame.
Yes, right. Absolutely. Okay. Tyreek Evans, no. Ricky Rubio, no. Johnny Flynn, no. Steph Curry.
Yes.
That's hard to say about Steph Curry, isn't it?
Maybe.
Jordan Hill.
Immediately.
DeMar DeRozan. No. I don't think DeMar DeRozan gets to the Hall of Fame.
What?
No.
Really?
I think DeMar DeRozan has been less successful than Blake Griffin.
Nikki, what?
I don't think people were talking about DeMar DeRozan in their homes.
No, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't make it to the Hall of Fame.
I think they're kind of on the same ground.
I think DeMar
DeRozan hasn't won anything.
Griffin.
He hasn't won anything though.
Wait, what has Blake Griffin won?
Wait, yeah,
the dunk contest.
Get off this podcast. Get off this podcast. Corner 2 has been brought to you by Postmates. Where we have
Brandon
one
Jennings,
wacky
Terrence
host.
Williams, Tyler Hansborough,
Ooh.
Ty Lawson, Jeff Teague. There's 4 Hall of Famers in this draft class.
All right. Let me ask you this then. Okay, because I was looking at Lou Williams' stat line when he returned to Atlanta,
Yeah.
and they were showing a bunch of his stats, and he scored over 12,000 points off the bench, which is fucking nuts to me.
That's wild.
Okay, he gets in before Blake Griffin to me. A guy that has mostly come off the bench gets in the Hall of Fame before Blake Griffin to me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's way older.
Because he's meant more to every team that he's been on.
I agree, but he's way older.
So what's the age difference between Blake Griffin and Lou Williams?
Lou Williams is 34.
Okay.
And
Blake is what?
32?
Griffin age 32.
Yeah, he's 32. That 2-year difference isn't that much. You made that man sound like he was still in the league at 42.
All right, now, were you thinking of Jamal Crawford? Because Jamal Crawford's old as shit.
And Jamal Crawford, I would put in the Hall of Fame before Blake Griffin.
I would put Jamal Crawford ahead of Blake Griffin.
I would put Jamal Crawford in the Hall of Fame way before Blake Griffin.
This is I didn't think Nikki, I appreciate you even saying that.
Yeah, that's a really good debate.
Now I'm tilted because I'm like trying to figure this out.
Everybody in the corner three community, who would you like? One, do you think Blake Griffin is a Hall of Famer? Please let us know. Write into us. Let us know. 2, who would you put above Blake Griffin? Wow, Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin.
That's just altered.
Vape Griffin. Hi, I'm Vape Griffin.
Vape Griffin. Who goes in before Blake Griffin into the Hall of Fame? Because that threw me way the hell off when you said that. I was like, record scratch. What?
Also, Jamal Crawford gets in the Hall of Fame because he's one of only 8 people to play for 20 years in the NBA.
I mean, also, interestingly enough,
he played last year.
There are very few people who have had a game like Jamal Crawford who you would swear, there were a lot of street ball players who, and Jamal wasn't a street ball player, but there were a lot of street ball players who had a game that you would have expected to have made it into the NBA that didn't. And Jamal was the only one who had a street ball game in the NBA where you were like, he is going to cross you up and make you feel bad. Iverson did that. Jamal Crawford did that. I would say even
Jason Williams did that.
Who I don't think is going to get into the Hall of Fame.
I don't think so either. But I mean, sometimes I'll watch highlight videos of Jason Williams. I was like, man, that dude was fucking bad.
He was a nasty dude.
That guy was pretty nasty.
He was nasty. Stevie Francis had a street ball game.
Steve Francis, yeah.
But I would even put Stevie Francis over Blake Griffin to get into the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, would you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did Jason Williams win a big
it's right there at the cusp. But I feel like from a
I don't agree with that. I think Blake Griffin is clearly a more important figure than Steve Francis.
Baron Davis?
Baron Davis has to get in.
See, Baron Davis and Blake Griffin, I can kind of see. That's maybe the equivalent for me.
Right?
Baron Davis carried. The only reason the Warriors still exist is because of Baron Davis as a franchise.
The Warriors still exist is because they swept the Mavericks. They eliminated the Mavericks in the first round as the 8th seed under Baron Davis's ball skills.
Yeah.
By the way, that was the worst day of my life.
Really?
I was sitting in a duplex in Sherman, Texas, and a lot of people were drinking, and I got really blazed, and I watched the Mavericks lose that game, and I was
hell yeah.
Anyway,
that I think if Baron Davis does not play for the Warriors when he does, that team is in Seattle right now.
I mean,
I think you're right.
It's funny. Well, yeah, because I mean, his time in the Warriors were the most impactful part of his career. But I think that the thing that even if you even kind of split up his career, I think more people think of him more as a Hornet than as a Warrior.
Not me. I wasn't alive.
Not me.
Wow.
Yeah. Nikki was not alive. Nikki was.
I don't know. I think
Nikki was a Cadbury egg when Baron Davis is playing for the Hornets.
Oh my god!
I think when I think of the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I think it's just because of the way that basketball works when compared to the NFL Hall of Fame, but it's like I think there's so much more. Your off the court presence is so much more considered when thinking about who ends up in the Basketball Hall of Fame compared to the baseball and the football halls of fame. Like
Yao
Ming
is in, right?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yao Ming being in the Hall of Fame tells me that cultural cachet and like presence in the media is a massive deal. Because Yao Ming didn't play long enough and it wasn't dominant for long enough.
It wasn't. He also wasn't very good. There are very many centers who were better than him.
Then
sure, I mean he was pretty. When he was on, he was pretty good. But
before his knees exploded,
before his knees went Greg Oden on him. Yeah.
Well, did Manute Bol get into the Hall of Fame?
No, I don't think so.
I think Manute had if we're gonna talk about centers in that space that were like not that great but had cultural relevance, Yao Ming is in that conversation.
Right.
Manute Bol, I would think, is in that conversation for sure. Sean Bradley was a very tall white man.
Sean Bradley won. He just wasn't good enough.
He just wasn't good enough. Yeah. Big Country Williams, he brought Canada to the NBA. Yeah.
I can't believe we're still talking about this. It's interesting.
What?
It's
I just can't believe we were like, let's talk about it this week, and now we're just like, who the fuck should be in the Hall of Fame?
I know. It's so wild. It's a really good conversation though. We'll maybe
it is. It's
into its own thing, because now I'm running through all the players in my mind who should have made it or should be in that conversation. And I just had one that was perfect for this conversation.
Stefan Marbury. Stefan Marbury went over to China.
Absolutely should be.
Had a career here.
Marbury should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely,
I totally agree with that.
He revolutionized the way that American children think about basketball shoes. Also,
kinda.
He was the first person to ever have a shoe in the basketball. He's the first player ever.
Wait, what?
A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. He was the first player to ever have a signature shoe. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people are like, Michael Jordan was the first player to have a signature shoe. That's not right.
Say things like this.
When Stefan Marbury went to Stephen Barry's or whatever it's called.
The boys
said, I want to make a shoe. And then they said, okay, the shoe's $15. Anyway, and then 5 years later, a child is going to throw his shoe over a fence at his school. And that kid's name, Nicholas Grayson. And his mom is going to have to go to the mall to buy him a new pair of shoes because his school won't let him go to class because he only has one shoe.
Ever since I've met Nikki, I've had to teach him this thing that's temporal object permanence, where things that happened before he was born actually did happen.
I know.
They just didn't happen for him.
It's amazing.
So Michael Jordan had very many shoes, but for Nikki, Stefan Marbury was the first and only.
Do you also know that a large Jamaican gentleman named Patrick Ewing had shoes?
Yeah, so did Charles.
I don't know who that is.
So did Hakeem Olajuwon.
I don't know. Oh, the guy from TV.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy from TV. The guy.
He played.
The guy who talks about Auburn and playing golf and is casually misogynistic every 7 episodes.
He was in the league.
Yeah.
He was in the league. He played actual basketball.
Yeah, he was called the Round Mound of Rebound.
Charles Bartholomew Barkley.
That I did know.
Yeah.
Anywho, that was a really good. That was a really good point to bring up, Nikki. I think that sparks a lot of interesting conversation about whether Blake Griffin should be in the Hall of Fame and in his resurgence. I think I'm still not in the camp of thinking that he'd make it in the first ballot, but I think second ballot, he would make it second ballot for sure. Luka Doncic had a ridiculous game against the,
Speaking of Hall of Fame.
Celtics.
If Luka retired tomorrow, does he make it into the Hall of Fame?
He'd be in the Hall of Fame over Blake Griffin.
Why? Over Blake Griffin?
Yeah! Let's go! Yeah!
He would absolutely be in there.
My boy's in the Hall of Fame already.
What? He would definitely be in there.
No way. No way.
No, listen, I agree with you. Well, okay. Let's think about it this way.
I think he would
Who has
totally
ever
make it
got
over
a
Blake
double?
Griffin.
Who has ever got a double bang from Mike Breen? Okay, Steph
Curry.
Okay, Luka Doncic. Okay, that's it, baby.
I'm mad how this is the new metric.
Mike Breen double
Double
bang.
bang.
That is
Eric
Mike Breen giving. Eric Gordon got the only other double bang, huh?
Is he gonna make it in the Hall of Fame?
Wait. Explain the double bang for people who don't know what.
Okay,
the
so Mike Breen. Mike has got NBA commentating legend Mike Breen for the ESPN broadcast network. If someone hits a crucial 3-point shot, usually in the last quarter, maybe in the last, even at like right before the half, maybe something that is impressive or particularly important, he goes bang, and then sometimes if it's a really good shot, like something like Steph Curry hitting a 3 from basically the logo for when the game was on the line for no fucking reason,
No reason.
It was a tied game. No reason.
It was a tie game. He didn't need to do it, but he did it, and it was incredible. Or let's say Luka Doncic wants to bury the LA Clippers in the playoffs in the bubble, and he does it, which is the best game I've ever seen. And he hits a step back 3, and it was perfect. And Mike Breen gives him a double bang. He goes bang, bang, and then that's it. So if you get a double, you're in. But Eric Gordon did get a double bang, and I don't think.
Yeah, or if you're Eric Gordon and it's a relatively meaningless Rockets Lakers game in November.
Yeah. Do you think Mike wants that one back?
Yeah, absolutely.
He wants that one back
all the time.
He thinks about it all the time.
I think in the moment, as soon as he said the second time, he was like,
he didn't deserve that.
That was not worth
because he's in it. Some pervert made a compilation video of all the Mike Breen double bangs and Eric Gordon's shots.
Yeah, it's 35 seconds long.
Yep.
And it's got a very good shot from Steph Curry.
Yep.
A very good shot from Luka Doncic.
Yep.
And then an okay shot where Brandon Ingram fails to close out on Eric Gordon.
How much is that double bang on Top Shot?
$300 million.
I love how that's the thing. So wait a minute. Okay, so besides the banging that happened, what did Luka do? Luka had like a ridiculous game this week, right? Versus the Celtics.
He did. He had an incredible game against the Celtics in Boston, and the interesting thing about Luka is, and I think what should continue to scare every other team in the league is that he kind of, it's very much like an MMO to me, like a role-playing game where you're playing it for a long time, and then after you level up like 15 levels, then you start to notice a real difference, and you start to have confidence about like your abilities and the things you can do and the activities you can do. And sometimes you'll hit one of these ridiculous step back threes and you see a look on his face that's like, I could do this all the time if I wasn't a 22-year-old kid and I wasn't just like fucking around.
Yeah.
And that scares the shit out of me, just like as I mean, it delights me, but it's also just like, wow, how good can this guy get?
Right. It's because when his contract is up in 2-3 years.
He's outie 5.
Like the Lakers come in and they're like, Supermax, bud. And you get to like, people will care about your games.
Yeah, people
like, is that why?
And you don't have Mark Cuban just kind of, I don't know,
kind of there to talk about
all the time.
Yeah. Making Clubhouse 2 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I'm real scared. I'm real scared about losing Luka Doncic, by the way. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The clock is already started on him dipping out.
Although I thought Giannis was going to leave too, and do you think he's regretting that decision?
Giannis
now?
is not
Because
staying on that contract.
I agree with you. I think he's going to demand a trade in like.
They're going to figure out how to move him. He's going to I think he's going to throw money away.
Because he's gonna they're gonna lose again this year. They're not gonna get. They're not winning the chip. They may get to the second round, depending upon because we have 45 teams in the playoffs. But I mean,
Duke didn't get to go to the tournament this year, but they are in the play-in tournament.
They are in the NBA playoffs.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm not gonna harp on it every show, but it makes me so mad. That's the thing.
I just don't think that Giannis and Dame to me are the same with this, which is to say that they've given too much to these organizations that have done very good things for them, but in the interest of their own success, it seems like they feel like they owe these teams something when they absolutely don't. And it probably would have been better. I don't think Dame's ever going to win a championship.
Dame is never going to win a championship because he's going to stay in Portland.
He's going to stay in Portland for no reason. He could have left and then come back to Portland.
Dame is one of those players that's just like, I don't need a lot. Like there was a really good conversation about, God damn it, it was about, and we'll talk about Westbrook in a second. But I think he had a really interesting quote towards Stephen A. Smith. Who was talking a bunch of junk about him in the past couple of days.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Russ kind of said, he was like, look, I made it when I got to the league. And to a certain extent, like that is the thing that I think about Dame too, is like Dame is interesting because of his legacy that he will leave in the NBA, like automatic first round, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like, there are people who really want to decide once they get into the league, they want to be a mover and shaker in that way. Like they're like, if I don't win a championship, that ruins and tarnishes my legacy. I don't think Dame is like that in that way, which is really interesting to see a player like that in the space. Giannis is different because I think other people will clown him more if he doesn't win a chip because of the way that his body is built. Yeah, it's like a waste of an NBA body to not win a chip.
He's too good to not win.
Right?
Yeah. Like Dame can be that kind of charming overachiever that I'm like, I would move heaven and earth to have that guy on my team.
Yeah.
Like I would. I truly would. But I don't think he's ever going to be like the driver to win a championship because he's just like, there's a ceiling for him. And it sucks. Yeah. But I do think there's a ceiling for Giannis. I don't think we've even necessarily hit that ceiling.
Not even close.
Yeah,
really.
Put more HGH in that dude. He has so much surface area.
He's so
it's my fucking pocket take is that if you look at Giannis Antetokounmpo 7 years ago, and you look at Giannis Antetokounmpo now, there's no fucking way that this man isn't on the juice.
What are you talking about?
Listen, Nikki and I have talked about this before.
Serious?
If you look at things like even just like bone structure of his like upper body,
what are you talking
it's
about?
Not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same.
I don't have enough space to walk around in here.
It's either that he's on the growth hormone or he got body snatched. Like he's the different guy.
What?
I'm serious. I'm serious.
Wait, all you have to do is you have to look at his rookie. Okay, look
at his rookie card.
When he was 18 or 19,
and he's old.
He's like 25 or 26
he's
now.
Grown man weight.
There's no fucking way he went through second puberty at the age of 19.
There is a huge difference between even if you think about Melo, we'll use Melo as a classic example. Melo was and Bron. If you're going to talk about anybody,
LeBron absolutely is on the juice.
What are you talking about?
There's no way this dude is still in the league. Do you understand how many minutes he's played?
What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I think all the effort that Lance Armstrong used to not get detected all these years, he just passed it on to other people. And now it's just
now
like,
you motherfuckers got me Googling shit.
yeah, no,
Okay,
but the Giannis shit's real. I'm sorry.
The Giannis stuff is absolutely real.
Hold
you
on.
have to look at Giannis Antetokounmpo rookie season and then close your eyes and think about Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2021. Here's
the reason why. Here's the medical Khalif Adams, doctor and clinical physician, sponsored by Google.
Uh-huh.
Here's the one reason why I know that LeBron is not on the juice. Because one of the things that is a side effect of steroids is increased growth of body hair.
Yeah, you're right. We know he's not on the juice. He's losing hair.
Of body hair.
Your head is a part of your body. He's losing all the hair on his head.
No.
This can't be a problem.
Here's the thing. When was the last time you saw LeBron without his shirt on?
LeBron is cut.
That guy is sporting a full, like a full carpet on his chest.
Carpet.
Like in his back. Like there's a jersey shaped of just like a ton of hair on his front and back, and he just lost it a little up top.
I hate
and
this
that's
show.
it.
I hate Corner 3 now. This is the last episode of Corner 3. I'm so happy. I'm so mad we didn't record this shit on the 1st of April.
Look at his chin. Look at Giannis's chin.
What?
I need you. Google Giannis Antetokounmpo rookie, and then look at the first two JPEGs. This is poison for audio, but I don't care. You need to look at the first two pictures in the Google image search results.
Yep.
And you cannot tell me that this man didn't drink a strength potion or something.
Okay, you know what? Let's just put this to the test. I think Nikki and I should get on a lot of steroids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you should
and just see what we look like in a year.
I think you should both do it.
It would be like saying Kumail from fucking Silicon Valley and now is in the Marvel movies also didn't do steroids to get his new body.
that is weight training plus grown ass man weight. Plus,
no way.
Plus lots of sex.
Your body doesn't. The human body doesn't do that. He's so old.
I always
decide to be fucking jacked at 38.
You could.
I remember Kumail's Twitter thread. I remember Kumail's Twitter thread about everything he did, and I do remember thinking methinks you doth protest too much, Kumail. I think you just drank the steroids, and it's fine.
There's no way.
The thoughts and beliefs of the folks on Corner 3 are not held by.
This is like saying that Triple H isn't on fucking steroids.
Triple H is on every steroid you can have.
I know, but he's gonna say he's not. And just because this guy is a wrestler and these other people aren't, that doesn't mean shit to me. I still look at these bodies and I'm like, all right.
There's no fucking way. It's like he has bird arms.
I truly love the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon we did to get from Luka had a big game against Boston to Kumail Nanjiani did so many steroids he's in a Marvel movie now.
I don't believe it.
It's really good.
I can't believe it. Folks who are also not on the juice, Russell Westbrook. Even though you would think by his anger issues that he might be on the juice.
Yeah.
He's an angry dude. But he normally doesn't engage with the media like this, though. And he did. No. And it's kind of an interesting... I don't know. I mean, he's thrashing against the dying of the light. It seems like
a little
to
bit.
me.
Yeah, I also think that the last time people were talking shit about him, he was in the middle of his MVP campaign. So he's not gonna rile shit up when he knows in the back of his head that he needs these votes. They already don't like him, so why is he gonna start talking shit? So obviously, I think that season when he went on, he had 82 triple doubles or whatever. I think that year he was like, okay, I'm just gonna hold off a little bit. These people are yelling at me for stat padding or whatever, but I don't care. I'm gonna do me and get this trophy.
Yeah,
right.
Also Russ first ballot.
I would. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think that's a far-fetched thing.
The guy's a triple-double machine. I would, like 6 years ago, I would have done anything to have that guy on my team.
Yeah.
Anyway, now I think that like he feels like
maybe 8 years ago.
I want Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant on the same team. John Warren, 2021.
That's what I want. I
don't know. I feel like now he's like, why are people trying to talk shit? Like I'm sure he's like, I know that
really
he's not the best player in the league.
I don't.
So like when he pops off, I think he's like, why are people talking shit? I don't know.
I don't think he thinks that. I still think that in his mind, he is like, I am in the top 3 upper echelon folks within this league, and no one can tell me otherwise. I think that is the driving force behind the man, the myth, the legend, the fashion icon, Russell Westbrook. Like, I think that is the way he drives himself every day to make that conversation a part of what moves and motivates him every time he gets on the court. And to a certain extent, we had this conversation earlier, like even, in the time that we've done this show that, Russ is looking a little bit washed. I think the conversation is a multi-pronged thing where, yes, he is losing a step. 2, he is playing a game in a way that the league does not play. You have to have a jump shot in the NBA, and Russell Westbrook does not have a really good jump shot. And also
jumps to dunk.
I mean, if dunking is jumping and shooting the ball into the rim really forcefully with your hands, then he's good at that.
What a jump shot.
What a jump shot from 3 millimeters away. It's like the fucking dunk contest when you don't kiss the rim and you still win it. Anyway.
Aaron Gordon, the best jump shooter in NBA history.
Oh, he's one of the best jump shooters to have ever lived.
Unbelievable.
Also, his jersey choice in Orlando is the most... Not Orlando, in Denver is the corniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
What did he do?
He changed his number to 50 for all the dunk contests that he won, that he didn't win, and got 50s all the time.
Listen, y'all. I love any story that
look at Nikki's
has
face
me going.
Right now. I love it.
I know. I love any story that has me going from like full throated, like I think about it in my off time, like, like support, like thinking in my head, I think Aaron Gordon should have won those dunk contests, to now that he's made a big deal out of it and a 20-minute documentary about it and changed his jersey to number 50.
Wait, he made a 20-minute what?
Yeah, documentary about losing the dunk contest.
This episode of Corny
now I don't. Now I don't want this guy to win anything.
I don't want
him to win another game.
Yeah.
I don't want him to win a fucking $5 on a scratch-off ticket.
Yeah.
I want this guy to go home.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the number change was very, very petty. And also, like... anyway, I'm digressing away from Russ. I think that the conversation again from Russ is multi-layered because of all those things that we talked about, plus bad management from the Houston Rockets and from kind of every team that he's been on for the past couple of years, where the Wizards had a decent squad for him ready with Beal, Wall, and Russ, and abandoned literally everything you can do to try to make that team a contender in a reasonable way in a not great Eastern Conference before you had the net super team, which is nuts to see how they just gave up on that man that early in his career. Not early in career, but that in that part of his career, which is also wild. Yeah. Russ's numbers have been pretty damn good in the past couple of months. Yeah. But what do we do with Russ now? Like, this Russ... Because I also don't think, and I want to go to you, John, on this really quick. This is not the situation in which I think a lot of other teams are going to be knocking in the same way that Blake, when he moved to the Nets, had offers. I don't think this is going to be a thing where Westbrook is going to be that player where people are going to be like, well, let's get you a ring so you can come over. What are your thoughts about that?
To me, Russ has to take the part of his game that, he wants to score what? He wants to score 23 points a game and 10 rebounds and like 8 assists a game.
Mhm.
He should probably switch his game up to only give a shit about 10 of those points. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. That's what he should shift his game to.
Man.
And if he shifts his game to be a distributor and a kind of an all-around rebound guy and someone that's unselfish, and I mean, it's really hard to call someone selfish when they have that many assists in their career.
It's
It
wild,
really
right?
is. But I still think of him as a selfish player because he's got to get those. He's got to juice those numbers. He's a number juicer. Like, we see that.
Yeah.
And if he just stops that part of it, I think he would get a ton of offers. He would be an upgrade for the Pelicans. He would be an upgrade for the Knicks. He'd be an upgrade for a few teams that kind of need a veteran point guard. Like, a guy could use his brain to do so much good for a young team, to be like a distributor and a mentor and whatever, but he's still got to get his points. Like, that still feels like he's that guy. And if he doesn't shift that style of play soon, he's not going to get these offers because they know what these teams know what they're getting. Like, Bradley Beal is the scorer on the Wizards.
Right.
I could make an argument that like Rui Hachimura should be more in a scoring position, or Denny Adija or whatever, their rookie. Like, these players should be developing their scoring talent, but yet Russ is still thought of as like the second target. And depending on which night it is, he's the first guy, right? So like,
Yeah.
He's got to shift his play, but he's not going to. I think he's just going to be this like. I think he's going to have to do what Carmelo did and basically.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
He's going to have to really fall out of the league, and then he's going to have to come in and kind of change his game around. Because now Carmelo is someone that I'm like. Now Carmelo is someone
revitalize
I'm like,
his career
on my team.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He the only way forward for him is for him to become a free agent after this contract is up, and then nobody picks him up. He's out of the game for 8 months, and then someone runs a 10-day flyer on him because he's fucking Russell Westbrook,
right?
Russell
and then he does
Westbrook.
well, and then you pick him up for the rest of the year. That's the only thing I can see. He needs to be humbled, which is a weird thing to say about a professional athlete, but
it's funny because we brought up Stefan
Marbury.
Yeah, Marbury. Starbury.
Marbury.
As they call him in the projects back in Brooklyn. It feels like if there was that mentor moment, it needs to happen with those two. Where Steph pulls him aside and is like, Stefan pulls him aside and is like, yo, and weirdly they have a similar game in some aspects. But he pulls him aside and is like, hey, if you want to have any more success in this league, you have to either one, humble yourself, or two, you need to go overseas. Make your money overseas, do that kind of stuff. It's funny that you bring up the Knicks, John, because I didn't even think of that as an equation that would make sense for him. It makes a lot of sense, actually, weirdly. You have an owner who is whack, so he's used to that.
Yeah,
but you have
it's usually the hardest part to adjust to.
Yeah, right. It's usually like, oh, I had a really great owner, now it's bad. But weirdly, in terms of his actual game at this moment, if you think of him as a grab the ball, because he's a fantastic rebounder still from the guard position.
Yes.
Pull down boards, start the break with young kids who want to run, and you have a city who will embrace you because they like that workmanship, that workman kind of energy where he has New York energy in him anyway. It's a lot of fuck you energy that Russ has. And he would be the like run and gun version of John Starks without a jump shot.
Yes. And right now, Julius Randle, all-star, first time all-star, leading that team in points, rebounds, and assists.
Hall
that
of
will
Famer
be their
over
undoing.
Blake Griffin.
But that will be their undoing in the playoffs. It will, because they don't have enough around him to I think do it.
They're going to clamp down on him.
If you put someone like Russ on that team, and he plays unselfishly. One, you've got Lob City 2.0, Russ to Obi Toppin, which is really fun, or Mitchell Robinson. That's really fun. And Julius Randle can his rebounding, his assists can go down a little. I mean, it's awesome that he's leading in all those categories, but he's a really good scorer and he's a pretty good defender. And like, let there be more balance on the team if you get a good distributor and a good rebounder and someone who can, Russ has got a big body too. He's not like an elite defender, but it's like he's someone who can get in there. So like, that's a kind of destination I can see for him where he can kind of end or / revitalize his career, because right now, like, Russ is an interesting side note on that Washington Wizards team, but that's Bradley Beal's team. Yeah. So, it's just an interesting situation for him.
Yeah. I never thought that I would be lobbying for Russell Westbrook to go to the Knicks. That's not a thing I would have thought of.
Could be a huge fucking disaster.
I mean, the weird thing is that I trust Tibbs a lot. Like, he's enough of a hard ass that he would either suffer through Russ for the rest of the season and get, see what he can get out of him to see if he can do some of that work and fill some of those roles. But Tibbs would also be like, yo, get him the hell out of here. This is my team. He's not going to blow up the chemistry that I've built over 2 years to get this thing right, to mess it up because he has an ego and doesn't want to get in line. So I feel
like that's like that's what happened with Jimmy Butler though.
Yeah, a little bit
in Minnesota.
Yeah,
right. Like I forgot that was a wild team. Remember that playoff series?
Yeah,
it was a weird team.
Yeah,
fucking Karl Anthony Towns. Even fucking it was a weird team. Just a weird team.
Super weird. Yeah. Speaking of weird, to wrap up the show, who knew that one of the conversations that we would have this week would be around my mouse not working.
Oh, nice.
Which would be about, because I can't change the scene if the mouse doesn't work, would be around Michael Rappaport.
My friend and yours.
Our friend, Michael Rappaport, and Kevin Durant getting into it in an actual way. Who knew that would be a thing that we would be talking about? One of the oldest and saltiest men in all of New York City talking
Kevin Durant. Oh.
Future Hall of Famer Michael Rappaport over Blake Griffin. Who knew that would be a conversation that would also be in the mix this week in terms of folks who we had an expectation to be talking about? So the incident happened where Kevin Durant, who was out on injury, I think there was a interview that happened where, post show NBA on TNT, they kind of do the post show thing where they talk to you about what you've done and how was your game and all that kind of stuff. Charles Barkley asks Kevin Durant a simple question about, how does he feel about the game? And basically Durant gives him a super one-word answer. And the folks on the desk crack up about that particular incident happening. And it leans into, all the kinds of conversations about like Durant not necessarily being super media trained. It leans into a lot of this conversation about
he's
Charles
a dickhead.
Barkley being an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Kevin Durant's a dickhead. I mean, if he wasn't good at basketball, he would be the most popular account on NBA Twitter.
Yeah. I think, you have a decent point there. I think there's a point there to be made.
He's got like online internet asshole disease.
Yeah, I mean, look at his face right here in this picture. He's like, man, look, I really wish that y'all would stop talking shit about me, but I just give y'all so much things to talk shit about. It's so easy.
He's the NBA's leading edgelord. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of, right? I mean, with his burner accounts.
He has burners. Yeah.
He has burners.
He got caught with burners and probably still has them.
And he's on the
juice.
He
has burners, and he says homophobic shit in private. And he's like,
yeah.
What? You're going to show everyone that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were
going to put it on TV?
Well, okay. We got to take a step back, though. We got to take a step back. Because Michael Rappaport broke a cardinal sin. He broke a rule and showed the business that was in the DMs out in the public, which is totally a punk move. And you're not supposed to do that. Even if you're talking a whole bunch of junk, you're not supposed to do that. And Michael Rappaport is a known instigator in the media space because he has nothing to do since Zebrahead, and has not made a good movie since that movie. I think he was in that movie.
Michael Rappaport and what's that dude's name? Bill Simmons, same
Giovanni
guy.
Ribisi.
You leave Giovanni Ribisi alone.
Oh, I get those two mixed up.
Is that the new pasta?
Yeah, that's a new pasta, Giovanni Ribisi.
Yo, it's like,
it catches sauce in the crevices. It's really good.
Ew. Yuck. I don't even know what to do with that.
But you want that.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want
that?
It's
good.
Also,
yeah, the
it just
sauce.
made me
You want
mad
the sauce
that he got to kiss on Nia Long in Boiler Room. That's just so unreasonable.
Actor? I have no fucking clue who Michael Rappaport is.
He's an actor. No, not Michael Rappaport. Giovanni Ribisi got to kiss on Nia Long.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Nia Long is?
No, I know who Nia Long is.
Oh, I was like, what?
She's mentioned in that Kanye song.
Get out. Get out. I hate you, Nikki. I hate you and love you so much. I hate you and love you so much. It's like looking into the Lazarus pool of life. I want to be young. Anyway.
She's in the Touch the Sky music video.
Jesus Christ, Nikki. Yeah,
that's
so it's a really wild thing because so the league fined him $100,000 for all of his comments that wound up coming out, which is also interesting because that again is a private conversation that got put on blast from Michael Rappaport.
It doesn't matter. I agree with it.
It's a thing.
To me, I agree with it. You have one of the league's player in some actor's DMs saying genuinely some shitty shit.
Yeah,
some bad stuff. And yeah, fucking slap a fine on him. If Kevin Durant wants to be an edgelord in an actor's DMs, in a washed, unimportant, stupid fucking actor's DMs saying homophobic shit, that's on Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
That's not on Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
He got messy as fuck with some guy that doesn't fucking matter. Some punk that nobody fucking Nikki's not the only one that doesn't know he is. No one listening to this fucking show knows who Michael Rappaport
Go off, John Warren. Go off, John
and
Warren.
So for him, for Kevin Durant to just wander into this guy's fucking DMs, just be like, oh, I'm going to say some really disgusting shit to you, and you're not going to do anything about it. And then Michael Rappaport's like, oh, look what I did. It's like, yeah, this is what you get, Kev. This is what you get.
Here's the question though, that is the actual reason why I pulled this into the show. There are a lot of folks in the space right now who are still kind of in that interesting middle ground as face of the league.
Right.
And we've even heard, side conversations of changing the NBA logo to Kobe silhouette.
Sure.
Over the years, even though Kobe has had some very salacious things that happened in his own past.
Yeah, never happened, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. The Kevin Durant, do we think that he's at the point now where he will ever be the face of the league?
He'll be Charles Barkley.
Huh.
Yeah.
He's the new Charles Barkley, because Charles Barkley in the 90s was saying shit like, I don't want to be anyone's role model.
Right.
He was dropping F-bombs in interviews. He just didn't care about being that guy. He was the anti-Michael Jordan. The irony of that is that Michael Jordan was actually kind of a private dickhead.
Oh, he was terrible.
And Charles allegedly was maybe less of a dickhead in real life, actually. And this was kind of a persona. Now, I'm not saying that Kevin Durant popping off and being pretty homophobic and misogynistic and stuff is comparable to just saying I don't want to be a role model, but I can see Kevin Durant retiring in a few years, being actually way more media trained than we think he is, and actually killing it on one of these shows, because he's probably really smart and insightful and good at this stuff, but he has no interest in being this role model. None.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the kids. He's a fuck them kids kind of guy. So this is who he is.
I don't think that the closest Kevin Durant ever got was when he was with the Warriors, and it wasn't even because he was Kevin Durant. It was because he was next to Steph Curry.
Yeah. Good point. Really good.
So I think if there was any time where it was gonna happen, it was gonna be then.
Isn't it?
and it's not gonna come. Like nobody likes any of the guys on his team. I think being the face of the league means that there have to be guys on your team who other people also like.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, let's examine that really quickly because I know we're almost, we're at an hour. The longest Corner 3 episode we've had so far. Because think about this. Jordan was the face of the league not because of he had the great smile. He had that kind of stuff going for him where he was a handsome cat who was, pulled up through the league in that way. But he was not a great human being. And also, he didn't really have a squad of people that gave a shit about any of the other people. Like, no one cared about Scottie Pippen because Scottie Pippen couldn't speak sentences. Bill Cartwright was a fairly quiet old man already by the time he got to that part in the league. And then who else do you have? Bill Wennington? No one cares about what Bill Wennington
Steve
says.
Kerr punched Michael Jordan to death, though.
Good. Steve Kerr deserved to punch people because Steve Kerr had traumatizing things in his life. So, like, I'm not even mad at Steve
Kerr is an unbelievable human being.
He is a dope human
I feel like people don't talk about Steve Kerr enough.
People don't talk about Steve Kerr.
No, they don't. They don't talk about
an unreal human being. It's wild that he exists.
Yeah.
Also, he has like 20 rings.
He has like 20 rings, which is wild. And then you think about other folks who've kind of had that mantle. I think even it's weird also because think about this. For as much as Steph Curry does in the league from a physical, unreasonably nuts standpoint of stuff that he's done that's literally changed the way the game has been played.
Yeah.
He is still not even the face of the league in that way, which is wild to think about. You don't see him in the same way. It's still LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Which is still
he will be until he
wild to think
dies.
about. So that's a weird thing. I would even say if you're thinking about that team when you had Kevin Durant and him on the Warriors, now looking at who Draymond is, he is a better role model than Kevin Durant is.
Yeah.
Even though he kicks people in the ding ding all the time.
You see that WNBA thread, the women's basketball thread?
Yep.
It wasn't even a thread. That's the funniest part. It's just a bunch of bespoke tweets.
But even his press conference stuff, he is a extremely like on point kind of person when it comes to the moment Draymond. Of the. I like him a lot. Yeah.
I'm actually glad that he was kicking people in the balls.
Yeah.
What?
I mean,
Nick
he doesn't have to worry about that with Giannis.
And also that everyone should be kicking each other in the balls.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to. Giannis never has to worry because if he's on the juices, his balls are small. Anyway, it's
allegedly.
I'm so mad at that take. Anyway,
allegedly.
I think it is a really interesting time for Kevin Durant. I think even if the Nets win, this will be the most uncelebrated win.
Yet no one's going to give a shit.
No one's going to care. And everyone's going to be extremely upset and mad at the fact that they won because they pulled together the most unlikable crew of folks together. And some of that is not even their fault. Like of all the folks who are in that group, if they win a ring and they're mad, like Blake, he'll win a ring and that'll be, he gets to check that off his box of things I got to do while I was at summer camp. LaMarcus Aldridge will be, Grandpa Jones who gets to get another ring.
Yeah.
Harden is the Bruce Banner of the team, not in that term that he turns into the Hulk, but the fact that he is the guy who walks down the road with a bag over his shoulder at the end of every season, hoping to go somewhere else.
That's another fun reference that Nicky won't understand.
He'll never know.
Yeah.
But also,
Nicky's like, Mark Ruffalo never did that. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? There's only been one Hulk in my lifetime.
I missed that one.
But also Kyrie Irving, who I feel like is the most misunderstood net in terms of his stances and all that kind of stuff and burning sage everywhere he goes. Like, I think that there's a part of that conversation where this is the mod squad of teams and no one is really going to care about if they actually take the chip home.
Do you think Bill de Blasio is going to shut the city down for the Nets parade? No, he's not going to shut the city.
They would egg the hell out of that because Brooklyn, the Nets as a
Knicks
team
fans
is still a Jersey team. I don't care what anybody says. It's still a New Jersey team. even if they are in the heart of Brooklyn.
Nobody's gonna show up.
No one's gonna go to Eastern Parkway.
Who cares?
To go shut down Eastern Parkway.
To shut down for what?
Or the Avenue
in front of the
Heroes.
Stand in front of the fucking PC Richards and Sons near the Shake Shack across the street from the Barclays Center.
I have so many memories of that PC Richards and Sons. So many.
No way. Nobody's gonna fucking go.
So many memories.
In Los Angeles, on the other hand, we get 2 parades.
Ugh.
4 parades if you think about it, because the Lakers are going to win this year and the Dodgers are going to win this year. It's 4 fucking parades. We didn't get our 2 parades that were owed legally.
I like
so combine them. I want
to know who Nikki's going to pull in for the legal defense for that. He's going to be like, hey, my counsel said we are still owed 2 more parades.
We're still owed 2 parades. It doesn't even have to be 2 parades. It can just be 1 parade and they can shut down the 405. Can you imagine how cool that would be? Because you have to pass Staples to get to Dodger Stadium. So you put all of them on one bus, right? You start them at the beach. You go down the freeway, and then you go to Staples, and then LeBron gets off the bus, and LeBron's like, and then like you all get back on the bus, and then they go up the freeway to Chavez Ravine, and then they all get off the bus, and then the stadium's full, and everyone's like,
hooray, hooray, hooray,
and
hooray.
then yeah.
Sounds
great to me.
And then that's the moment where LeBron comes out and is like, hey, everybody, I'm retiring after this season. I want to thank you all for all the time that you've given to me and my family and my team. I've been juicing for 35 years. I'm leaving. I won all these championships for you. I ruined my body.
God.
I have small nuts now, and it's all because of basketball, because I care.
All I want is for somebody in their Hall of Fame acceptance speech as they're like unveiling the bus to be like, by the way, I've been on the juice. You already made the statue. What are you going to do? Not put it in?
It's too late. That's what Barry Bonds should have done.
Just a
Barry
statue,
Bonds
just
like,
like with a really
I'm
small,
never...
very small needle in the statue. Anyway, we're getting up out of here. We have rambled. This has been a brilliant show. This has been a brilliant episode.
2 Hall of Fames.
2 Hall of Fames.
One for non-juicers and one for the real athletes.
Nobody's juicing in the NBA, especially Giannis. Anyway.
You gotta look at the bones, man.
You gotta look at the
evidence.
Gotta
Look at the bones. You gotta look at the evidence. When this dude dies and they do an autopsy on him to figure out like what made him special, like they're gonna do with LeBron, they're gonna like see where his bone actually stopped growing, and then there's gonna be a little line, and then there's gonna be second bone growth, and they're gonna be like, oh, that's when he started juicing.
When the fuck did he become Wolverine? What is it? What is this?
I don't know how HGH works.
Then when Giannis had adamantium just fused onto his body, that's when it wound up happening. What? We're getting up out of here. This is nonsense. This is turned into the Maury Povich show.
The human body looks like Operation.
There was a couple of good episodes of In Living Color where they had David Allen Greer play the role of Prince, and his job was to say random shit really loud. And this feels like that episode. I can make a booger talk. Anyway, this has been Corner 3. It has been a fantastic episode. Again, if you like these kinds of salacious conversations where we slander grown-ass athletes, and we also say that Blake Griffin should be in the Hall of Fame. Also,
I'm not wrong. I haven't said one wrong thing on this show.
Allegedly. All this stuff is alleged.
Allegedly Corner 3. Please leave us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts. We are on all podcast platforms. This is all hosted by Fanbyte because we are the dopest folks on the planet, and we kill it every week with the wonderful shows that we put out there, like the shows that John Warren hosts. Like, which shows are those, John?
Oh gosh, I'm on 4 of them. It's too many, but I am on 99 Potions and RPG podcast. I am on Thanks for the Knowledge with John Warren, a weekly news roundup. I'm on Friends Reunion, which is a really fun podcast that Nikki and I are both on every Monday. And then, of course, I'm on Corner 3.
Beautiful.
So you can check out all of that stuff at podcastnet.work.
Let's go. Nikki Grayson, I know that you are the master of all things fashion, the most fashionable person within the Fanbyte crew. Where can folks buy some of the wonderful merch that we all sell over at Fanbyte?
You can go to store.fanbyte.com.
I got him. Got him. Anyway.
Fanbyte.com/store. Did that go anywhere? Fuck. No, it doesn't. Store.fanbyte.com.
It's store.fanbyte.com.
Store.fanbyte.com is where you can go find some wonderful Fanbyte merch. And we'll be back next week with more Corner 3. We'll probably not be talking about salacious emails and DMs from
Probably
Corner.
not.
No.
Probably not.
What we will be talking about, though, is you should watch the Women's Final Four, which is happening right now today.
Yep.
And then the championship game is on Sunday the 4th. And then the men's one, who cares? Those are going to be boring games.
Exactly.
Mid-major UCLA made it to the Final Four. Who gives a shit?
We're gonna talk about all that next week here on Corner 3. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We'll see you all next week. Peace, and we are out of here.